Hello and welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to be going over the OP01 Roanoa Zoro deck. This is going to be the premier aggro deck in the 08 Western format. Very excited to see how this shakes things up, considering it's very aggressive and the board swarm is better than anything we've seen so far. So we're going to go over a little bit about this deck list before we start getting into some gameplay, and I assure you that the gameplay is going to be very fast-paced today. I haven't run anything yet, but I'm very interested to see who we go up against. But we'll start over by going over this list. Here I am running two of the Kidding Killers. This is a great last-minute rush card that you'll just kind of want to put out to go for game. If your opponent is at 2 or less life, he's going to gain 2k power. And, you know, if you've got 1 Dawn on Zoro, that makes him an 8k. So it's a 4 Dawn 8k swinger with 1 attached to Zoro for leader ability. So that's pretty good. Next, we're going to go into the first of many Tony Chopper cards, the Blocker Chopper from EB01, Dawn ×2. When attacking, give one of your opponents minus 3,000 power on one of their characters for the turn. So it's going to be great to get rid of some of their characters on board. And it is basically the only blocker we're running in the deck, but more times than not, opponent's going to want to go at board than face, and if they do go at face, I'll take a pretty good chunk of those, as we do have a pretty small hand at times since we're cheating out all these characters. Next is going to be the 2k Sanji, running this at 2. You can actually use this 2k from hand to counter out of something, and then if you have a Tony Chopper from OP01 on the board and you attach a Dawn to him, you know, granted if he sticks around, you can actually get the 2k back from your trash and discard a dead card. Let's just say you have too many of these Luffy's or the Dragon or too many events that you're not too keen on using. You can use his ability and grab that 2k back, which is pretty useful. I've done some test games before, and this has definitely come in handy. Outside of that, though, if you're playing Enel or someone that wants to starve you out, you can start taking life with this card. So pretty great. Also searchable by the Nami. Getting into that, Nami can find any of your choppers, as they are also Straw Hat Crew on all of their categories here. She can also find you your Zoros. She can find you your Luffy's. You know, she can also find you the Shut Up and Come With Us event, which is also a Straw Hat card, just like our Bad Manners and our Diable Jam as well. So she can pretty much find most of our deck outside of, you know, like Hiking Bear or the Dr. Kureha or the Makino or, you know, Dragon. But outside of that, you're almost never really going to whiff on her. Then, of course, 4 Rush Zoros. Enough said. We know why he's here. We do have the Makinos for the 2k counters, but sometimes you'll be able to use her to buff up the Nami or the Dr. Kureha that you played out for 1 Dawn and, you know, get some viable swings out of them. More times than not, I think that you're going to really get a lot of usage out of this Chopper card, and you'll kind of want to start replacing these 1 costs with other better animals from your hand, and there are other combos here which I'll go over. So most times Makino is kind of just a 2k, but she can see some use if you need to really get value out of these 1 drops. Now this is just a miniature combo. The Tony Chopper from OP04 on play up to 1 animal character with a cost of 3,000 power or less from your hand. That is only going to be the Hiking Bear. There are other cards you can run. I know some people were putting in the Supersonic Duck Squad, but I think the Hiking Bear is fine. You don't need to hit this combo every time. If you don't, it's okay, you know, but you could use this Chopper, which is really just the engine of this deck, on play or when attacking. You're able to look at the top 5 cards of your hand, get an animal with 4,000 power or less, and play it rested. Now, the great part about this is that you can actually hit other choppers. So you can hit this chopper, you can hit this chopper, you can hit this chopper. So it's pretty great. But if you do hit this chopper and you have the Hiking Bear in hand, you can actually play the Hiking Bear as well. So you're getting 3 bodies just for 3 Dawn. And in this deck, having these smaller bodies out is super pivotal for us, because they're going to become pretty heavy attackers. What with Hiking Bear's ability, being able to add an extra 1,000 power onto another animal card with a Dawn ×1, and then of course leader ability as well. So the Dr. Kureha is going to be the next card we'll be going over, running this at 4. She's able to find the Tony Chopper or Drung Kingdom cards, so she'll find any of these choppers, but she'll also find the Hiking Bear as well. She'll also find the Shut Up and Come With Us event, so pretty good. I may want to bring this down maybe, but so far I do like this list. For my first attempt at trying to put this together, I think that this list is pretty consistent. Finally, we got our big bodies. We got our Luffy, which will stop a blocker. In case you want to go for game, you can definitely use his ability and just bypass, because more times than not, opponent's just going to be too overwhelmed with our board, and we're going to run that Luffy for that reason. He's also searchable with Nami here, so that's pretty great. So we also have the Monkey D. Dragon, in case you need to go tall, which this deck doesn't really do. Just having a bounce monster just available to you can sometimes really turn the tide. Then, you know, of course, he does get Rush, and on play, you can give your leader or one of your characters 2 Rested Dawn. Doing that, sometimes you can get the 2 Rested Dawn on a Chopper, which will just turn on his ability. You can put a Rested Dawn on Hiking Bear, which will turn on his ability. You could put it on the OP01 Chopper, which will turn on his ability. So you're kind of seeing, what we want to go for here, but it wouldn't hurt to just also slap it on leader and, you know, get his ability off as well. So a lot of synergy with that. Finally, we'll just go over the events really quickly. We do have 4 of these. This is a must run at 4. You're going to leave 1 Dawn open. The counter is not going to give you anything to your leader, but you are basically going to be able to cheat out a 3 cost or less animal type character, and it won't be coming out rested, it'll be coming out active. So if you leave that Dawn open and your opponent swings and you know you're going to take it anyway, or even if it's just a 5k swing that you're going to use another 1k to get out of, you'll use this with the active Dawn, cheat out this Chopper, which will then, you know, top 5 search again to cheat out like a Hiking Bear or another Chopper or another Chopper. So a lot of potential with that. Finally, we do have for us the 2 of the 0 cost event. This is the Bad Manners Kick Course. This is great because there are a pretty good amount of bricks in here. What with the Zoros at 4, the Kid Killers at 2, the Dragons at 2, these Choppers are bricks, the events are bricks. So having 2 of these is great. Trigger doesn't hurt us either, you know, being able to minus 3,000 to something, stop an extra swing coming our way. And then finally, the Diable Jam, which is great in case your opponent just sort of got overwhelmed and blockers up. You can just use this and put the rest of your 9 on Zoro and just swing that big 14 to face and just ask him for it. So, you know, pretty great to have that available to us as well. I don't really see the trigger effect of this too often, but you never know. You never know. So. But that's going to be it for our list here for the Zoro. There's a lot of versatility in this deck. You could run a lot of different cards, what with the different amount of animal cards. I know some people are running the Robson Rush card from 08. You could run just a lot of different stuff. But I think that this is a really consistent list, and we'll be able to reflect that on our gameplay today. So let's go ahead and move into some games and see just how great this Zoro does. All right, everybody, we're going to move into our first game here today, which is going to be the Yellow Katakuri. We do get first, which is really great, and we do have the event here, which is also pretty good, so I am going to keep this, and then I'm going to go ahead and pass to opponent. So we're not really going to be able to use this event soon. We'll see when we can use it, because I do want to play out something this turn. I could actually decide to go with the Dr. Kureha here and find the 3 cost 5k Chopper, but instead we only find the Hiking Bear, which is not the worst thing, because I am going to put 1 Dawn on leader, swing 6. Probably should have started with that, but I doubt they're really going to take it anyway. No trigger is really too much to worry about for our Dr. Correa here, so we'll go ahead and pass to opponent. If we do hit the Chopper off of the Shut Up and Come With Us event when opponent swings this turn, we'll be able to play out the Chopper and then hopefully see another Chopper off of the 5 cost search and then play the Hiking Bear from hand. But if we don't, we'll still be able to do that combo next turn just by raw playing the Chopper into the Hiking Bear. So 7k coming at us. We're going to use the event here. We don't see the 3/5 Chopper, which is unfortunate, but we do see the OP04 Chopper. So we'll use that ability. And we'll return these cards here, and we'll also use his ability to cheat out the Hiking Bear as well. So we're just going to take that 7k, and we do draw a Zoro for that. So they do decide to play out the Peros Pero, and we draw into the Diable Jam. So let's go ahead and see our options here. I could play out the 3 cost Chopper or the other 3 cost Chopper, or I could just put the pressure on them with the Zoro, which is what I'm thinking about doing. So that's probably what we're going to end up doing here. I'm going to put 1 on leader, buffing these guys up. We'll put 1 on the Hiking Bear and use his ability to add another to Chopper. So now we have a 5k swing from Hiking Bear, a 6k swing from Chopper, a 6k swing from our leader, and then a 6k swing from the Zoro we'll be playing out. So we'll go ahead and start things off with 5 from Hiking Bear. And they give us an Onami. So next we're going to start with the 6k from Chopper. And they give us a Beji. And then a 6k from Leader. They do decide to take that. And we'll play out the other Zoro and swing another 6k with his Rush. And they take that as well. So we'll see if a Trigger comes out, and they trash a Paraspero from hand to play another one. So our board is not really the safest this turn, but we did get 2 life off of them and only 4 cards in hand. So 3 now with the play out of the Kikanojo. They're going to swing 5 into our 3. I'm going to go ahead and give up the Hiking Bear. I don't really want to waste all the counter on my hand, but I'm not going to be so easy to give up on the Zoro. So we'll give them a 1k for that. And if they want to put everything on the lead here and swing into it, that's fine by me. They do leave a single Dawn open, which is a bit curious. I could actually save Zoro here and put the aggression on them. So I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to do the 2k and the 1k here to save the Zoro. So 1 Dawn is going to play out the pudding, and they're going to draw into a Brule blocker. So good to keep in mind for a Diable John being online later when the Brule comes out, when they think they're just a bit safe. So start things off with the Leader, and we're just going to go pretty heavy on him here. I might even Dawn up the Kureha, so I'm going to start with that. We'll put 2 onto the Kureha, and we'll swing 5 at them first. If they decide to give us the Brule at some point, that'd be fine by me too. They do decide to take it only at 2 life, so we'll put an extra Dawn here, but before we even get that far, they concede. Not sure why they did. They could have gone heavy to face, and there's our Choppers on life. They did have the 0 cost event on life as well. The game could have shaken out in different ways, but I don't think that they were ready for the aggression that we had since we kept the Zoro up with the counter from our hand last turn. So GG's to opponent. We'll go ahead and move into our next game. Alright, and game 2, we're going to find ourselves up against Lucci, which is, funny enough, our worst matchup. I think that's actually what's going to be keeping this Leader in check, actually, in the 08 meta, is the Rob Lucci. But we will keep this hand because we do have our 3-cost Chopper, and a 2k goes a long way. So we'll go ahead and pass up on our first turn. Not really much to do with the 1 besides the Makino, and they'll just KO that so quick that my head will spin. So they'll use the Tempest Kick, draw themselves a card. We do draw into the Shut Up and Come With Us event, so I could go 7 here, keep that up and play something. Or I could play out the Chopper here and play something as well. Thinking about just doing the Chopper since we have 2 in hand. So we'll play out the Chopper, and our only option is to grab the Hiking Bear here, and we will play that as well. And then we'll go ahead and do 5 into their lead and see if we can get a card from them. But instead of a card, we do hit them once for life, and we'll pass to opponent. So they could play out a Lucci here. They could put 1 Dawn on the Leader and swing 6 into our 3. But that really wouldn't get their Brook off, so maybe Lucci would probably be a better bet. They are going to minus this down here, and they're going to swing 5 to 3, which I will let go. And then we'll probably see a Rob Lucci come out just to take care of this Chopper, because you don't want to leave this guy around, because when he attacks, he gets his on-play ability off as well. So I would not blame opponent here for just raw playing the Lucci just to get rid of this. But instead, they're going to play out Zoro, and it looks like a Brook is coming our way, and that's what happens. Brook is actually one of the big reasons why this is a really bad matchup for us, just because he does stick around, and then he comes back from the Moria play later. So very difficult to work around this card. But we're going to draw into another Hiking Bear. We are going to drop another Chopper down here as well. So we'll drop out the Chopper, and he's going to be able to play us either this other Chopper or the Hiking Bear. Probably going to just play out this other Chopper here, because if he does stick around, we can get his ability off. And next thing, we're just going to put 1 on lead and swing 6 at face and keep the 1 Dawn up for the Shut Up and Come With Us event. They do decide to take that hit as well, and they get a Tempest Kick trigger, destroying our Chopper. That's another thing about this matchup, is the Tempest Kick and the Ice Age trigger is basically always online for them, because they're always going to clean up a 3-cost, because we're always going to play a 3-cost. So they're going to just do a 5 into our Chopper here. I don't really know if I'm disrupting their 6 Dawn is going to be a big deal, because then they would have to put 1 on Brook. to swing 5 into 4, or they could just do it into 4. I'm not going to get rid of every card on my hand. But instead I will use the event, and I'll play out the chopper, which is going to net us another chopper. But that, oh, I'm sorry, the on play is only on my turn. Okay, so I just learned that. We're learning as we go here, ladies and gentlemen. And they do minus down the chopper with the Khalifa, and then they're going to swing in our face and just KO it with the Brook. So we'll take this, see if we can get anything good off life. Not really the greatest with the Dr. Kureha, but we do draw into a Nami, so we will play her out, and we're going to take the chopper here because we'll be able to use a combo with that. So next is going to be the chopper and to the hiking bear. That does leave us with 3 Dawn open. Could play on another Kureha and see what we find, which I'm pretty sure is what I'm going to do because I'm going to end up swinging into this Brook. So we'll play out the Dr. Kureha. We'll grab the Shut Up and Come With Us event, which we'll use with the 1 Dawn open. We'll put 1 on Zoro and swing 6 into their 4. They could easily just counter out of this with 2 cards. They have been hoarding. So we'll see what they decide to do. And that's what they do. They dispose of the Who's Who. And we'll probably see another random 1K come out. Actually, it's a Suru, which is a 2K. Now, getting that Suru in trash is pretty good for them because if they do decide to play out the Moria, they could Suru with the Rob Lucci and get rid of a couple of our bodies here. Not to mention that this Brook did stick around, so our board that we have established in 1 turn for all that Dawn is basically going to get wiped out again, which is quite unfortunate. I'm thinking about just saving the 1 cost event for when opponent swings with Brook. So first things first, we'll just give them a chopper for this first swing. Because if I do play something out with the Shut Up and Come With Us event, they'll just have a different target for Brook. So not using any Dawn on leader sort of tells me that this 8 Dawn is pretty much guaranteeing us a Gecko, which is unfortunate. But they are going to swing 4 into us. Now I'm going to use this event, and we're going to play out the other chopper here. No targets from hand, so we'll just go ahead and let that go through. They did KO our Nami with the Brook here ability. And here comes that Rob Lucci, who is going to come away from the Gecko, so they do decide to play it out, and maybe the Suru is going to come next. Maybe brand new if they have one in trash. No, it's Suru. So, yeah, 2 bodies. Probably 2 of our 3s here. You hate to see it. You really do. And they've got this wide board. So, things are looking pretty desperate for us. We're going to see if we can maybe try to squeak out of this. But it's a bit grim at the moment with just 2 cards in hand. So they're going to pass to us. We do draw into the Sanji, which is not something I'm going to be able to use right now. So I guess we're just going to have to go pretty aggro on face. See if we can get him down to 0. I really doubt it, but we'll see what happens. We'll put 1 on leader. So we have a 5K and now a 3K. So we'll put 3 on Kureha. No. We'll start off with a 5. See if we can get a hit off. They do give us a Spandum for that. But yeah, it's probably going to be 3 on Kureha for 6. And then 6 from Zoro. And then 7 from Luffy. Yeah, they're going to counter out of that as well. So we'll swing another 6 at face. They do decide to take that. We'll play out the Luffy and swing 7. And they're probably going to take that as well. Things could have been maybe a little different for us if opponent was at 0 life, but we don't have any other rush pieces in hand, and they're basically going to clear board for free here. I do have 2 2Ks, but with the amount of swings they have coming our way, I doubt it's really going to be able to see any use. They're probably just going to go 9 into the Luffy. 5 into the chopper here is going to kill our Kureha too, so not great. Not great. This soul card is just a really good card in this deck. Just all the free removal is tough for us, so we're going to let that go as well. We'll probably see Moria swinging to Luffy. Yeah, so Moria does. We lose the Luffy as well. And now we're going to take some hits to life. And with 9 Dawn, they could easily just play out some blockers and keep us away in case we see any of those rush units we're looking for. So 6 Fron lead. We're going to take this just because we're digging. We do get another Sanji, which is very unfortunate. I don't want to counter right now. I want to get a rush card and just sort of hope they don't have any blockers. They're probably going to go ahead and play out. Yeah, here's Jack. So, I mean, that's good. I'll take that. They draw a card and they trash a Lucci from hand. I really need a rush right now. So let's just really hope we find one. We see Kureha, which is not great. And then we're just kind of fingers crossing on a rush character. And it's Dragon. So, you know, maybe. So we could play Dragon out. And we'll give the 2 Dawn to Zoro here. So he's at 7. Dragon's now at 10. We will put 2 onto the Zoro. And we'll go ahead and swing 9 into the Lucci. And we'll see if he has the counter for the 9. Because if he doesn't, he's going to get 10 from Dragon. So if he has the counter, we lost. Okay, but he does take it. And next we're going to swing 10 with Dragon and just see if we get there. That's really all we had. And he did not have it. Wow. Okay. So we did somehow squeak a game away from Rob Lucci there. We're going to throw out the GG. Very close game. But yeah, so we survived. Our last life was a Diable Jam. But we weren't really going to see that anyway because they probably, you know, they just didn't have the bodies to hit us for the last life. But wow, very lucky. Very lucky. He said, yeah, no blocker. No blocker was unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Could they have grabbed one from Moria? No Rebecca and Trash. So we just got lucky, honestly. But GG's, we'll go ahead and move into the next game. And moving on to our next game, we do see the blue-purple Reiju. I do find this fun because I did just make a video on this Reiju. If you aren't interested, you can go ahead and check that out under my channel. But let's go into things here. They do decide to take first away from us, so we will keep this hand as we do have a guaranteed searcher in the finding our chopper department is pretty much covered. I'd like to find a 3-5. I think that's the best card in this deck is that 3-5 chopper. And we do get double Dr. Kureha as well, so we'll be able to search twice. So we'll drop up our first search. We do find the Shut Up and Come With Us. I may actually prioritize leaving this other Dawn open just for that. And I think that's what I'm going to do here because they're going to move into 3 Dawn. The best play that they could see here is a Porsche into Ichiji, but not dropping stage on their first turn was pretty great for us. But they do automatically play out the Black Maria and use her ability for no reason. And they don't even swing into us, which I find strange. Actually, that was terrible because they would have gone to 5 Dawn. I don't know why they did that, so... okay, well, we'll just play it on. So let's think about what we're going to do here. We're going to probably start things off with another searcher for the Kureha. We do whiff this, unfortunately, getting rid of a couple 2Ks, a rush unit, and our searcher Nami, which is not the greatest, but these things do happen. Now, we could play out the chopper, or we could go double swing here with Zoro. I could actually do 7 from Zoro, but I think just getting rid of this 6 here is going to be important. So we'll start with a 5K swing. And they'll give us the Niji for that, and then we'll just throw out another Zoro and do another 5K into them as well. And I'm sure they'll give us a Reiju or something like that, but instead they do decide to take. So we'll just go ahead and pass over to an opponent. I think the interesting play for the Black Maria was a bit odd. Maybe they did that so that they could be at less Dawn than us to get their abilities off, but I think just using an ability would have done the Dawn minus for them, so... don't do this. That was a bad play. Definitely don't do that next time. So they are going to play out the Niji. They'll probably KO the Dr. Kureha. They could send Zoro back into hand, but I can imagine they'll want to swing into this as if they do swing into life, I'm just going to, you know, take it, get some more pieces into our hand. We weren't able to leave up a Dawn for the Shut Up and Come With Us event, and they do end up sending the Zoro back to hand anyway. If they're going to end up doing that, then I am going to give them the counter for this, just so they can kind of realize, okay, well, he's just going to play out that Zoro again anyway. So they do use the Black Maria turn here. We draw into the Diable Jam, which could be good for later turns. We did see them drop off the Queen. They could have the blocker chopper of their own in the form of the Porsche combo. So for now, we're just going to go ahead and take a look what we do have here. I am going to leave a Dawn open this turn, so we do have 5 to play with. I'll probably play out the Zoro again and put 2 on leader just to do like a 7 6, 7 would be good. So first we're going to go ahead and put that Dawn on Zoro and swing 6. And they do give us the Gina for that, so we'll go ahead and play out this Rush Zoro, put 1 on him, and then throw the 7 at them, which if they give us 2 cards, they'll be at 3, and instead of that, they decide to just take life. So they are down to 2 already, so the Diable Jump looking a lot better for us as well. They're finally going to play out this stage, which is pretty good for them. They definitely wanted to see that earlier, and first things first, they're going to have to do the Vinsmoke Reiju baby, and they don't even have the larger Vinsmoke as well, so this is sort of going to be a masterclass on how not to play this deck, because next they're just going to play the Kaya anyway, getting rid of the Nijis, so their trash is looking set up for some larger plays here, but this is just not the way to do this. I'm not sure what their hand looks like. I just know that there are a lot better options than just ditching a Reiju for no reason, you know, so they are going to swing 6 into our Zoro. We're going to go ahead and use that event here and play out the Chopper, which is great because next turn we'll be able to swing with it and get his ability off. Now I could use the 2K for this, but he'll just swing into it with the Niji anyway, and I don't mind taking a life here, so we're going to go ahead and take this 7K swing, and we draw into another Chopper, so we'll be able to flood our board pretty aggressively here and keep their attention away from our life. So we do have 2 of the Kid Killers. I could go 5, 5, 7, 7 and really put the pressure on them. With them being at 2 life and 5 cards in hand, that does sound very appealing. So let's start things off with just a 5 swing and see if we can get anything from this Chopper. We don't see any animals, so unfortunately we do whiff that, which is making me feel like the 5, 5, 7, 7 is going to be even better now. They're definitely going to have to counter out of this, and they use a 2K, which is even better to see, so we'll just swing another 5 now that we know that they're not really running enough counter in hand to give us anything more than a 2. So they do give us the Sora next, and then we'll play out the Kid Killer and swing 7, which will most likely hit, considering they've been giving us 2Ks this whole time. They do get the Germa Searcher trigger, which I'm not worried about, because another 7 is going to come at them as well. We're just going to ignore board, because if they do decide to take this, then it's pretty much GG's, considering we're just going to Diable Jump next turn. Yeah, so I don't really think there's any way that they can get out of this. Again, I don't want to be disrespectful to my opponents ever, but there are times where you're just going to have to really see the best way to play a deck. And I think no matter what situation you find yourself in, using 2 Dawn to play out Reiju, and then Dawn minusing for that is just not the way to go. And I think the Black Maria play as well. It's just, you're going to put yourself at less Dawn when the babies could have done that for you. You know, it made no sense. They could have had an extra active Dawn to play with here. So they're finally getting their engine going. They were able to play out the Reiju to draw cards. They were able to play out the Porch, which would give them the Ichiji. But they weren't able to play out a blocker unless that's what they're going to do with 2 Dawn. But even without Diable Jump, I don't think we're even going to need it, even if they did play out the Chopper. And it looks like with the 2 Dawn, they don't have the Chopper, so didn't really matter. They can put their swings wherever they want to go. That's fine. We lose a Kid Killer there. That's fine. We'll lose the other one. It doesn't really matter. And then the 7's going to go to the Chopper, which is, again, totally fine. So we're just going to go ahead and put everything here on our leader, because I don't really think there's really any way they can get out of this. 15 to face is a tall order, so they would need 7, 9, and it's just not there. So GG to opponent. Looking at their hand and trash here, I'm just really interested to see what was going through their mind and doing some of these plays, but we'll throw out a GG, but instead they do back out, so GG's to them, and we'll move on to our next game here as well. Now, moving into our final game, we do have the Mirror, which I'm very interested to see how plays out. I've yet to do a Mirror at all, so this is going to be very interesting for us. Now, we do have a very great hand. I do have the 1-drop event here that we'll probably get off on our 5 turns, since we are going to start playing things on 3. So I will decide to keep this and see what opponent wants to do. Now, I do think that this is a great way to showcase the different types of decks that you can build with this. I think running the animal package is a automatic moving into 08, but there's a lot of different cards that they could tech in. But starting things off, they do have the Dr. Correja into the Hiking Bear, which is great. So they do leave the 1 Dawn open, which I can imagine is going to be for an event themselves. So we should probably just get that out of the way. They do decide to take, actually, so they don't have the 1-drop event. So we're going to actually play out the Chopper here. And we do whiff that search, unfortunately, bottom decking 2 of our Zoro. our Rush Zoros, which is not great. We don't have the Chopper... I'm sorry, we don't have the Drum Island ability online either. So we'll see what happens. They do decide to play out the Nami, which is going to find them a Tony Chopper. That's always great to see because they're most likely going to play that here on 3 Dawn. Now, what I do like to see is that they don't have these really established bodies. Starting off with just a 5K, I'll take that here as well. We do see the Bad Manners Kick Course trigger, which we will not need because I'm not going to imagine them putting 3 Dawn on one of these, but instead it's going to be the Tony Chopper, and I don't think they're going to have as bad as luck as us when it comes to finding a body to play off of it, but if they don't find one, that'd be pretty great by me. And they do find a Chopper to play, which is better than what we were able to grab. So we're going to start things off by putting 1 here on our leader, buffing our Chopper up to 6, and swinging 6 into that 4 that they just dropped. So we're also going to be able to see that we got the Tony Chopper off of this. The reason I'm grabbing this card is because we're able to combo that into a Hiking Bear. So really great find for us, and the 6 and a 4 is definitely going to guarantee that unless they wanted to give 2 cards up. So we do have 4 Dawn to mess with here, so I am going to play out another 3 cost. It'll probably be in the form of this Blocker Chopper, which will help us clear bodies later. And then we'll just go ahead and throw a 6 at them, which I can imagine we'll get a 2K out of, but instead they do decide to take their life. So we'll pass to opponent and see if we can hit anything good off of this event. Now, we did whiff with the Chopper earlier, so I'm hoping that we did move some of the animals closer to the top, but we'll just to see exactly what we have to work with. Now, they are going to raw play out their own Chopper to get out the Hiking Bear. What I would have done is maybe swung first with this Chopper to see if they could find a Chopper and play that out for free, and then get the Hiking Bear out onto their board and hold on to this character or potential 1K. But, you know, they may just decide to start putting Dawn on these 1 costs here and get some value out of them. So maybe I'm wrong, but they are going to swing with this Chopper eventually, which is going to cheat out another body if they do see one off the top of their deck. So definitely something to keep in mind. We'll have our own clap back here with the Shut Up and Come With Us. It's just going to be a battle of attrition about who could hold on to their board, really. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and use this event, but they're going to see if they see anything off of this when attacking ability, and probably replace one of these weenies here with as well. So they are going to take a look, and I'm not quite sure what they might want to get out. They might actually get out another one of those Choppers. Yep, there it is, which could get them another Hiking Bear from hand to replace this Nami. That would probably be the best thing that they could have done this turn. I'm not sure if they have it. With 7 cards in hand, they very well may. So something to keep in mind. And they do. So they do play out the Hiking Bear. Now, what I find interesting is that they actually replaced the Chopper that they cheated out with the Chopper. But I am going to use our own event here. We'll cancel out the blocker. We'll use our event. We do find another Chopper blocker to play out as our only option. And for the 6 there, I am just going to let that go because I don't have any other way to protect it from this Chopper swing and this Zoro swing. So they are going to play out the Machina, which is probably why they decided to keep the Nami around, replacing one of the Hiking Bears that they got out. So they're getting these bodies out, and they're not really getting too much from them because they're instantly replacing them. So if they were going to do that, maybe they should have played the Machina out first to get the swing for the Nami through. But 6 into us, we'll go ahead and we'll take that. We do find ourselves another Chopper here, and they do go ahead and pass as well. So we're going to think about what we want to do. They only have 5 cards in hand, but they do have a pretty full board. Now, I could easily get rid of this board. I'm going to start things off by putting 2 onto our Chopper here and swinging 6 into their Chopper and bring it down by 3K so we can guarantee the clear on that. Unless they want to give me 5K in counter, which, you know, I don't think is going to happen. So we're going to get rid of that Chopper. And they are going to use the event to cheat out a Blocker Chopper. Now, no matter what happens here, I have to get rid of this Machino. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the raw 3 into that, guaranteeing that we lose it unless they decide to block with Chopper. But I doubt they would because we can clear that here as well. So we'll play out another 3-cost Chopper. And that's going to get us a hiking bear or chopper. I think I'm going to take another blocker chopper here, as the hiking bear we already have, and I think protecting a 4 would just be a little bit better because they may decide to dawn up to get into it. So we could go for the Nami here. I don't think we have to though. We don't need to leave a dawn open either. So first things first, we're going to put 1 on our Zoro, and we are going to put 1 on our chopper here as well. So we'll start it off with a 6 at lead. And for the extra dawn, we'll put it on our chopper here as well and go another 6 at their lead. Now, I didn't really see a point in leaving our blockers up because they are going to just try to go back and board as well. And if they do decide to do that, we could find ourselves in a situation where we could finish them next turn. Now, they could go aggro. I do only have 2 1Ks and a 0 cost event. They're going to play out the Rayleigh, which is going to KO our chopper, and then minus 3K to our standing chopper. And that's going to be for the foreseeable future, actually. So not great, but we will just give them these cards here as 6 cards in hand and no dawn open. Does sort of open the door for us a little bit to just go in. You know what? I'll just give them a 1K here so they can just keep continuing to go at our board. Yep, so they're going to swing the leader into that. And they're not going to use this chopper because they do want to keep that open as a blocker. But we do have the Diable Jump. So if we're able to get one of these attacks open, that'd be pretty great. So let's go ahead. And I'm thinking about maybe playing out the Kid and Killer here. And maybe swinging 8, and that would leave us with 5 dawn. That would leave us with 4 dawn open because we're going to put 1 onto our Zoro. So let's do that. We'll play out the Kid and Killer. We'll put 1 onto our Zoro here, and we're going to go ahead and start by swinging 5 at their leader. See if we can maybe get a card out of their hand first. And we do. Next, we're going to go ahead and do the 8 at their leader and just hope they take. Because if they do, then we'll be able to use the Diable Jump. So I don't want to see them use the blocker right now. And they do use the blocker, but unfortunately that's what we're going to have to deal with. So we could just play out some more bodies to deal with. I can start clearing a little bit more of their board, and if it doesn't work, I am going to get cards out of their hand. So we can go 3 into their 3 and see if we can get another 1K from them. But I do want to make sure I'm knowing what I'm doing here first as far as dawn is concerned. I could just get them to 0, and I do have a 2K and a 3K, a 5K, 6K counter in hand, but I don't want to use the Diable Jump, so maybe getting them to 0 might be our best bet here. So we'll go ahead and attach an extra dawn to Zoro and swing 7 at face. And they take that. Now I could put the rest of our dawn here on chopper and swing 6 just to get rid of another 2K. Or I could go here at board, but I don't think I'm really too scared about dying next turn. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3 onto our chopper and swing 6. And then we're going to cheat out a body with the chopper. We're going to cheat out the blocker chopper here. And just get a 2K out of their hand because next turn it's going to be lethal. But instead of a 2K, we do see a 1K and a 1K. So they're in a position here where they're going to have to try to go for game, which I think could be a little difficult. Now, we do know they also have rush cards, but we have 3 life. So 4 of these cards are going to need to get through in order for, 4 of these hits are going to have to get through in order for us to lose. So we do need to keep in mind exactly what they have in hand and how many dawn they have open. But this is a very pivotal turn. Because even if they do play out a blocker, we are just going to use our Diable Jump. So they're going to start things off with a 7. For a 7, I'll take that just to see what we get. We do get a 1-cost event, which is very unfortunate because there's no counter involved with that. And we're going to see what comes at us next. If they throw another 7, I am going to 2K, 1K that. But instead it's a 6, so we'll just give them the Sanji. Now, they're going to need a rush unless they decide to dawn up Nami, but I'm pretty sure with 6 and 5 in hand, they are going to have a rush character in the form of probably a Kid and Killer. It could be a Luffy, but that's basically it outside of Luffy, Zoro, and Kid and Killer. So just to keep that in mind, they are going to start by throwing 8 at us here. We could counter out of this here as well, and I'm pretty sure if we do, they would go 9. And then that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It could be a 9-7. But if we don't, they could play out Kid and Killer, which would still be a 9-7. Yeah, so I think we should counter out of this here. We'll give them the bad manners and the 1K for that. Yeah, GG's to opponent, because even if they did play out a rush unit, I don't think that's going to be enough for them. Yeah, so they did have the Kid and Killer for rush. So it was going to be 8 and then 8, 9. And on life, we had two duds. So pretty good showing there. And yeah, there's that Robson. Some people are running this. And they're also running the Nico Robin. Nice deck. Thanks, you too, man. But yeah, it was a really great game to see what they were playing out with. Nice deck, but hard to play. Yeah, very difficult depending on some of the matchups. But that is going to be our last game with a mirror. And we'll go ahead and we'll move finally into the rundown from our final game here. And that's going to wrap things up today for our OP01 Roronoa Zoro deck. This was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun trying out the animal package. I did see a lot of different people trying this out, and I got very excited to give it a try myself. It was a lot of fun. I did like seeing basically every card in our deck had a reason to be there, which is really great, because sometimes you'll run a deck and you're like, man, why is this card in here? It's doing nothing for me. But we saw exactly what we wanted to see when we wanted to see it. We were even able to take a game away from Rob Lucci, who is, very easily our worst matchup. Seeing the Dragon off of life was pretty great there. But, this just shows you how strong the animal build is for Zoro, especially this card right here. You always want to see this chopper, as it's just going to keep your board filled. It's going to keep you, ready to go the turn after in case they clear board. And we didn't really even expend too many counter cards in protecting our board, just because it's just so overwhelming for them to deal with. But I definitely want to take another crack at this leader and maybe, show some different games and feel it out just a bit more. I am a little new to this deck, but so far the showcase was pretty strong. So thank you guys so much for coming in and watching. If you did like this, of course, subscribe. I will be having more deck breakdowns and gameplay in the future, as well as some card openings with some boxes and some packs. I am going to be heading to pre-release this Sunday as well, so I will get some product from that to rip. But thank you guys so much for coming in, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one, all right? Have a great night.